Good afternoon, everyone. It is the two of the Niners DNA team. We've just finished watching a terrible game of football where the Denver Broncos have just been beaten by the Colts at home, which tells you a lot about how the Denver Broncos are going. And what should also tell you, very, very scarily, is that the Denver Broncos beat the Niners. How you going, Jono?
Yeah, good mate. Good mate. All is well. Yeah, absolute bludger of a game put on display there. No one could get anything happening offensively. The defenses were just kind of taking hold of the game, and absolutely one of the worst games I've seen.
What do you make of Russell Wilson's decline?
Yeah, it's a bizarre thing to see. Like this is the situation where, like, you've seen him be in those situations before where, I mean, obviously he loves to chuck it downfield. There's a couple of one of the interceptions in particular, he just lobbed that thing straight to the defensive back. Like, it's just crazy. And we know he loves to push the ball downfield, and that was probably part of what he hated about being in Seattle at the end, was that he wasn't able to do that. But he can't do it here, even when it's dialed up for him. He can't do it, and he's not willing to move around outside of the pocket and make the plays that we're used to kind of seeing as a watching him sort of pull apart the 49ers late in games. And I was sort of watching that there going, oh, like, okay, well, he's going to do it here again to them. And he just nothing. Like, to see Broncos fans at 9-9 going into overtime, your team's still in it. Like, it's overtime. You're ready to go. They're leaving the ground.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I saw he was using his legs a bit in the first quarter. And I thought, well, okay, this looks promising. And then obviously he's got, he's very comfortable at the Seahawks, and, with Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. He had some, he did lob it up to Tyler and more so Tyler, because he was the long ball receiver. And they had a little connection going, and I just don't think he's got it with Jerry Jeudy yet. Maybe that'll come.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely he's not the same quarterback that. And look, of course he could have been and he probably was on a bit of a decline at the Seahawks. But this performance that I saw, it was just three and out.
And the Broncos mortgaged everything for him, like in terms of their trade capital.
Yeah.
I saw it interesting just from a TV standpoint that Prime Video hosts, or they're the ones that broadcast that, and the deal that they've set up, something like tonight, we sat there and watched that game, and it cost Prime Video something like $86 million to show it, and it was just an absolute, like, you wouldn't pay 4 cents for it.
No, I wouldn't. Mate, so let's get on to what we're going to talk about today, and we might do this once a week, and it's just a little bit of a review, some of our thoughts. And look, don't get us wrong, we're not NFL coaches.
Yeah.
We definitely have an interest in the game and the strategic side of NFL football, both being rugby league coaches and rugby union coaches. Well, Jono is also a rugby union coach. I coach rugby league, and so we thought we'd sort of look at what has changed between the Denver game and the game that we won last week against. I should have turned that off. Who we beat last week, Jono? How bad's my memory?
Far out. Now you've got me on the mental blanket.
Who did we beat? The Rams. We beat
sorry.
The Rams. Yeah, that's right. So what has changed?
I'm already eyes forward on the Panthers here. I'm going like, it's Panthers.
Yeah, that's right.
It's Falcons. Let's go.
That's right. We've got to come back at 4-2, right? But what I saw, and I guess what you saw as well, because we both saw it, we're thinking in the same way around what has changed in the offense to make it more productive. Obviously, the defense, we don't really need to talk about that, because that's the defense is taking care of itself. But there seems to be a bit more of the winning formula that Kyle found himself in the groove at the end of last year, right?
Yeah. And I see, this is that it's probably come as a result of losing Trent Williams. Like, it might prove to be a little bit of a blessing in disguise in terms of sort of getting Kyle out of out of whatever plays or scripts that he wanted to run, in going that we've got to play this quick kind of either that screen pass gameplay, quick pass slants, that kind of things, just so that you limit the time that the defensive line coming at us that we're playing has enough time to sort of get into the backfield on him, so he can just sit there and just dink and dunk away. And it probably plays to Jimmy's strengths, because we know that he doesn't do that very well. But I mean, you saw them do it. And you know, we were talking about how we both we virtually sort of wrote the same thing in the little chat that we have. Like, this is what we'll expect to see from the 49ers, and they did it, and they do it so efficiently and so well. And that's probably the best thing to do, is just to put the hands in the best players' hands early and just go for it.
Especially knowing that we're a good run blocking team, and all we're doing really is moving, you know, some of those run blocking schemes or strategies right or left of the line of scrimmage, obviously with, you know, some wide receivers and you know, George Kittle or Charlie Warner or something like that, and letting, you know, your Deebo Samuels and what I found interesting was Juszczyk. He was involved a little bit more. So I guess we're calling it a winning formula, and it is more around the up tempo, complementing the yak, you know, getting the defense on their back foot. But the thing that we first wanted to chat about is getting past the script, and we both know, and what we mean by that, obviously, and for anyone who's new to the game, is that Kyle is a very good scripter of the first drive. You know, the first 15 plays he usually puts on points. And you had a stat that I'll let you bring up, but I'll throw it to you in terms of, you know, utilizing the script, using that stat that you were talking about, and then how do we get past it?
Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting one when you're looking at the exactly what you're talking about there. That first 15, 20 plays scripted and planned, and it's probably what they work on throughout the course of the whole week to make sure that when they come out offensively with the ball in the first series or second series, that they're efficient and that they can get to where they need to get the points on. And the 49ers are scoring it in first half points. They're scoring 41-6. So that's all their first half combined against all their opponents this year. It's 41-6 to the 49ers. And in the second half, that slips away dramatically. And
do you know what stats are in the second half?
No, I don't know what they are, but it wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't take You'd almost say it was almost reversed.
Yeah, it would be almost reversed. And thinking about, you know, and obviously we played in the monsoon, so that's hard. And then we had that you know, that game against the Seahawks, which we did score a few points. But then, you know, playing Denver, it was a very slow scoring game. And then the offense only scored 17 points against the Rams. Yep. And it's almost like Kyle has this feeling of, okay, let's get some early points on the board and let's just let the defense win it. From, you know, let's put up an unassailable lead, which is, you know, maybe 17, 21, 24 points. Because there are more touchdowns out there on the, you know, there was at least two or three more, you know, big chunk plays that Jimmy could have hit. And look, when I say that again, let's take in consideration that we're not out in the field, and, you know, we don't have the skill or the wherewithal to do what Jimmy does. But, you know, from a professional quarterback's perspective, you know, there was stuff left out on the field, and even if it gave us a chance of getting a field goal, that's more points on the board.
Yep.
What's is that how you said? Do you think, you know, that's Kyle's thinking?
Yeah, it's definitely, and I've sort of spoken about it a couple of times. Like, I don't understand why he doesn't go back to the well. So I don't understand when something works, why he doesn't do it again. And I know that he's smart enough, and I've listened to enough of the way that he speaks that he'll dress a play the same way. So everyone's in the same alignment, but there's a different play call, and that's why it's about confusing the defense. So if they can come out there in their base package defensively, he can either run it as is because it looks good, or he can obviously motion somebody out from the backfield. And that's the stuff that I like to see. I like to see two guys in the backfield with Jimmy, and that's where you do see you've had Debo there on one side, and I don't think it's the pass off to Debo, taking it forward and running it between the tackles play. That's not what I want to see. I want to see Debo in the back play, because that's what the defense are expecting them to do, is to hand it off to Debo to go through there. But why not have him there and just run a trail or a wheel route, something out from the backfield, and go put him one-on-one with a linebacker? Like that's your mismatch. That's your mismatch right there. And if everyone's stacked in the box ready for Debo to come out, and I'm no aficionado of the game or from a coaching standpoint, but that's the kind of thing that I thought, like when I sort of learned about Kyle Shanahan, I thought was his bread and butter, was that he'll make a defense and a defensive coordinator look at an offensive play and it looks exactly the same, but he's probably got about 5 or 6 wrinkles within that he can change based on what he sees. To me, getting Debo in that backfield, but running out of it and running a pass and putting him one-on-one with the linebacker is something that I'd like to see him do much, much more often, and to get past what he's got in the script.
But even so, and look, it was a very early play, and I was looking at the All-22, the coach film, and looking at the difference between what Debo can do when he's got blockers in front of him, which it's common sense compared to. And like Jimmy, it was a check down. Like Jimmy looked at what he had up the seam, couldn't get there. Debo was wide open on a check down, and he had 3 defenders in front of him. Debo can't do anything when that happens. No. And so, I mean, it's probably not the greatest example to use, but what I'm trying to illuminate here is that when we are getting him wider out of the line of scrimmage and using those jet sweeps that Rod talks about, which we still haven't used yet. No. And getting blockers out in front of him, like Charlie Warner, and Ayuk's pretty good at blocking, and Juwan Jennings on a third down sometimes.
Yeah, all our wide receivers are really effective blockers.
Well, this is the thing with Kyle Shanahan's offense, right? If you can't block, if you're a wide receiver and you don't block, get the fuck out, right?
Yeah.
And so that is how he got his big chunk plays, and he did get one against Denver, but that was because I think he shook. I think he shook the linebacker, and Trent Williams made the block really, really well. This is before he got injured. Yeah. But all his other runs from the backfield have just been 1 or 2 yards.
Yeah.
So, he's explosive around a corner. I don't think he's that explosive off the mark, and he needs pace. He needs to be on the run to get into a position where I think, he's in, it's like inertia. Like he's that big and bulky.
That's right. That's why you get him on the sweep, you get him in motion, or you're able to dink to him at least outside, like 5 yards in from the sideline, and then send all that offensive line and those tight ends, out in front of their way, and just let him play dodgeball essentially between all the defenders and pinball like he did on Monday Night Football over there against the Rams.
Yeah. Right. Well, let's go on to the up-tempo screenplays, and I'll throw to you. And what I'm going to do actually is I do have a clip here, which I'll find as you're talking, and it is all about getting that ball. It's the ball that went to use check, that was up tempo, and it got us to a point of view. It gave us, I think it was a 34-yard play. But what's your thinking around getting those? I mean, it's not rocket science, but why is it so good for the 49ers offense to do that?
Yeah, I mean, but it's something that I haven't seen this year. It seemed like everyone was sort of getting to each play very, very slowly. I mean, whether that's a methodical kind of thing, like getting everyone in the right position, but essentially, if you're playing up tempo, if you're moving quickly and getting into position quickly, then you're making the defense have to do the same and respond the same, and then they have to speed up their thinking processes, which makes it a lot more difficult to sort of counteract what is happening. But particularly in the screen game, like if you're rolling in there quickly and there's bodies moving everywhere and all over the place, like that's just advantageous for the players that we've got. And it's not just Debo. It's like there's Brandon Ayuk who has been very effective in screen game and in those types of positions. And you think back to what are we, probably 2 years ago now, his opening touchdown for the 49ers against the Eagles, where he leapt about 7 foot over someone to score. Like that was one of those plays where you sort of, in that screen game, you got guys in movement out in the front and off they go. So yeah, playing an up tempo, and it came, and he started to play up tempo last week, and that's something that's like, you know what, this is my concern is that Kyle tends to go against the things that prove to work. So it's like, you don't have to, like, it's not, don't try and out trick people. You've got it, it's working, keep going to it until it's not working, and then find something else. Well,
speaking of which, right, so here's I'll add this to here we go here, right? So this is the pass where you're talking about, where you can see that the D line of the Rams aren't ready, and we go pretty fast. So let's just watch this. There's no sound on it because it's the all 22. You can see how he goes, bang.
Yeah. And he's just running a route to the flat, like he's just heading out, and it just because they're not set, he's got himself probably 2-3 yards on the outside there, or beyond probably 5. And again, that's Kyle Juszczyk lined up against Bobby Wagner, who's a linebacker. Like he wins.
That's right.
He wins.
Watch this. They're not even ready, right? They're still sort of getting in position. Bang. We're out. Boom. I mean, I would have liked him to sort of look off a little bit and get him to, because he knew he was going there. That's one of the problem with Jimmy.
It's Ayuk that sells it. You watch Ayuk. He runs across. He runs a slant back under.
Yeah,
and it just created the space, because the two corners and the safety, or the corner and the safety, follow Ayuk.
Watch this.
You watch the outside corner and the safety. Ayuk comes under. They both go to him, and it opens him up for a one-on-one with a linebacker. Like, that's easy.
And this is the thing that a lot of us say on our chat is, why isn't he using Juszczyk more? Sometimes I'm like, is he not trying to give the game away? But mate, Juszczyk was open twice on the weekend, and we just didn't, and it was just him not getting him the pass. So anyway.
Part of my inner theory is that he's always playing for the Super Bowl in his mind. He's like, I just want to wait to use that for the Super Bowl.
That's right. That's exactly right. So anyway, so again, let's just go on to complimenting the yak. With Jimmy at the helm, you are never ever gonna have, because I just don't think he trusts his arm. And just as quickly as I might just have a look at, someone's Ed Lear's having a bit of a up tempo fits Jimmy's quick release, get the line quick, snap it quick, and get Jimmy in rhythm. Jimmy's a confidence player, isn't he? Right. And so when he knows, I think Jimmy doesn't want to think too much. He wants to just get, okay, there's my read. That's what Kyle wants me to get the ball to. I'm getting it to him.
Yeah.
So I think
that play in particular highlights that whole see it, chuck it. Like, don't think.
Don't
there
think.
It is. Go.
100%. But and what did he say? And he said something else here. But I also want bombs to Danny Gray. We want everything, don't we? Don't we, Ed? We definitely want everything.
But see, on something like that. Like that exact concept where what he's got going there, I think he had a guy in the backfield there. Even if it was a case of, like this is where you can use Danny Gray, or I was thinking George Kittle more, like just on a leak opportunity. Like, everyone's coming, even in the screen stuff, when everyone's going right, and you just need to leak one guy to the left. If that's Danny Gray streaking downfield, then you do give Jimmy a one-on-one shot, and you go, mate, look, take it. Because good things happen. Good things can happen in that situation, whether it's a PI or it's a catch, and we've got a long play. But they're the type of things that, where the screenplay, or that when you talk about complementing the yak, like if we're putting guys up we're putting Debo and BA in positions where they've got guys out in front of them on one side of the field, you can complement that by sending someone one-on-one down the other side on a leak.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on using? Because he's such a big body too. Do you see, and it might be just me not watching, Juwan Jennings, is he getting involved in the blocking downfield for Debo?
Yeah.
He is, yeah. Yeah, I thought so.
He's a
Because
beast. He's had a couple of nose to noses with a couple of defensive backs and players on other teams in the last couple of weeks. Like he gets in there, he's having a crack.
Yeah, because that's the other that's obviously been one of Kyle's, I don't want to use the word playbooks, but one of his favorite, is to get big, bulky, like that experiment with
The big
Jalen
slot.
Hurd.
It's the big slot.
Yeah, that's right. So Jalen Hurd, he was a big boy. He slimmed down when he came back and failed this last year. But the big slot runners, the guys that are able to, you're not. Kyle's not going to draft Devontae Smith, right, from the Eagles.
No,
he's just not big enough.
Yeah.
And so the question that I've got here that sort of comes to me is that and this is, I guess, is a bit of an aside comment. Is he going to be able to do the same stuff for Trey? Is he? It just felt like he just did not know how to handle Trey when he had him in, when he, and I know we've been over this, but it just came to me then, like we're thinking about the winning formula, and
I'd like him to be calling these exact kind of plays for Trey. Like Trey can do that.
Yeah, he
can do that. In my opinion, like it's always been is that Jimmy's ceiling is Trey's floor. Like that's where he can deliver that, but he can give you that little bit more.
And that's the thing, I guess. What his run threat makes it even the more tempting. Well, not tempting's not the word. Even a better way. Well, his ability to run is going to make it even more salivating for Kyle, because it's going to open up so many lanes and so many holes. And the other thing I wanted to mention to you was that it does. I know that the outside zone seems to be something, especially with our running back, especially with Jeff Wilson Jr., whether or not it's he needs, because I don't think he does need, probably 5 meters or 5 yards to get going. But it seems as though it's a lot more up the guts, isn't it? Up through the tackles with Jeff Wilson. We're not using the outside zone. Have you any thoughts on why that is, or is it just because of Jeff Wilson Jr. being the player that he is?
Yes, and no, I think it's got a fair bit to do with the two guards. Like I'd love to show in the future, but there's some great clips of both of those guards. And look, I'll call Banks a rookie just because this is his first kind of season that he's actually getting some time out there. But they're pretty effective in that in between tackle movement. Like the Jeff Wilson Jr. touchdown is directly on Banks and Burford now, because Banks clears out first, and then Burford comes across, climbs the level and takes the linebacker, which opened the lane for Jeff Wilson. And it's probably comes down to their physical traits. Are they able to get outside the tackle like we're used to run to have that wide zone? And I think this is probably why we drafted these two guys, because they were better in between the tackles, because we wanted to play a little bit more power. And that's why you're seeing Jeff Wilson sort of having to be put in those positions where he's trucking it up between there. I think the wide zone is still a versatile use in the game plan, and they probably will get there at some point. But at the moment, I don't know. I don't know enough, but I'd imagine power is kind of like the simple, here it is. Everyone in an O-line can run power, or some concepts within that, whereas wide zone's just that little bit more physically challenging and probably taxing on a bigger body.
Well, I just as you've, I do have the touchdown here, and
so this is the Jeff Wilson touchdown.
This is the Jeff Wilson
Beautiful play.
So let's
here you're watching either side of Jimmy on the 10. You're watching the two guards left and right. You watch Banks take his role in 74. I think is Burford coming across to take 53 or
Banks. So let's just watch them. So I might just pause it just as we start.
Yeah, go for it.
So he's done the audible, right? So, and apparently this wasn't changed at the line of scrimmage.
So Kittle's going, but you've got Banks already in space there. He's about to take the block. 74. He's shedded off his block on the right hand side, and he's heading to the second level. So you got Banks engaging here to open up that first crease or lane, and you can see Wilson's going to head straight up the guts. Watch him here. Motion. Kittle's heading across. Banks hits. Burford cleans up and opens
Burford
it up
was
again.
great on that.
Yeah. He
Burford
just sealed that off.
Just watch it again. Like, watch how he hit. He does two. So he's gonna hit their inside interior alignment here. Ready? Bang, and then bang.
Bang.
Two of them.
Yeah.
He's quite good, isn't he?
Yeah, Banks was the cake and Burford was the icing on it.
Yeah, we'll just watch it one more time. I just really like watching
because that's all they're trying to do. They're trying to seal to a sideline.
Yeah, that's right.
So seal, open, you're through.
Even McGlinchey had not a bad game the other day.
Yeah. Here's a little stat for you with Banks, because so he is not allowed a quarterback hit or a sack in 128 pass attempts this year. And for a kid who everyone wrote off as a bust because he didn't play last year, he's had a pretty nice stand. So it's like 128 pass blocks, 122 run block snaps. He's allowed 0 sacks, 0 penalties, 0 hits, and only 6 pressures.
Wow.
For a kid, yeah. And he handled Aaron Donald when he came to him.
He did.
And there's a bit of film around here of him just holding, pushing, redirecting. Aaron Donald's doing a spin. He's just there, just holding him. So, like, for a kid, he's had a pretty good start for opening 4 weeks.
He's doing well, isn't he? Look at him.
Yeah.
He's quite mobile too. He almost moves like I know we've said this before, but he also moves like our man. I'm trying to think of his and see how's my. I reckon I'm getting early onset dementia.
Not Trent Williams.
Trent Williams, yeah.
Yeah, well, he's had to retool his body. Like, I mean, that was part of the reason why we didn't see him in 2021 was that they said, mate, you got to reshape your body, and
that's right.
And he's credit to him.
Yeah,
and he's PFF's 15th ranked guard in the NFL.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So look, they've taken their time, and D'Amico's done a great job once again.
Defensively.
Oh, here we go. We got one more comment, and it is from Ed again. Here we go.
Love it, Ed.
Do we think Kittle will be back in the Yak Brothers circle? Well, it's funny you say this. I know he only blocked it on 11% of snaps, so it seems to be Jimmy just knocking his way. So perhaps it'll come. Well, Jono has a theory on this, so I'm going to pass to Jono.
Well, I think, yeah. Ed, I reckon like he's trending in the right way. I think we've got to remember he's had a fair bit of time out and off of the game, and I think he's just slowly starting to come back into it, and I think we are going to see him a little bit more. I think there is the idea that Jimmy's probably hasn't been looking his way as yet, and I do think that will come as time progresses. And I know that even Kyle Shanahan addressed it in the press conference, I think on Tuesday or Wednesday, talking about how that it was something that they wanted to do, was to get the ball in Kittle's hands more often and more regularly. So I see a trend there. I see a trend from last week or for the game against the Broncos to this week, that he's getting himself more in sort of match fitness, because I don't think he's really getting the separation that he's possibly had in previous year, and that probably comes through to, again, like, we talk about quarterback getting in rhythm. I'd say any player in any position in the NFL, like it is in any other sport, you need a couple of games under your belt to get into rhythm. Like we're starting to see the best side of the 49ers in terms of the way that they're going, because they've got 4 games under their belt. Like 4 games to me has always kind of been the way that you would play league or union. It would be like that, right? Where we've got all the nicks on us. We're kind of hardened. Where fitness is where it needs to be, and let's go.
See, this is why, Jono, I don't understand why they all don't. And I know injuries are a part of it, but I just, if I was looking, look, I'm no NFL, but trials are there to get and Harbaugh used to get the calluses, right? To get battle hardened and to get you prepared for a long NFL season ahead. You can see that we are, and it comes down to the NFLPA, right? They're not there's all these rules around having them how much they can play, what sort of padding they wear, how much they can practice, how much padding they can wear, the new helmets they wear over their head. Concussion's huge. We know we want to protect them from that, but I just don't get why there's not more harder running at training or more of these veterans playing trial, the preseason games.
Or at least, valuing the what the preseason game can provide them for a
Well, that's right. Even if you're only going out there because it's, timing's out, you're rusty. And I think that part of Trey's injury was about Trent Williams missing a block. And one day we might have a look at that, but you can see blatantly that Trent Williams misses a block and the linebacker just crunches Trey. And that's not.
I definitely feel that there's something in the NFL where, I mean, you've got to look at the first 2 to 3 weeks and go, mate, it's anything could happen, but we'll get through. Once the dust settles, we'll see who's still got a viable squad intact, who's lost players to injury because of what you're talking about. They're not battle hardened, and then we probably start to see the cream of the teams rise to the top.
Well, mate, look, I hope we come back from Virginia 4-2, but we've got the Carolina Panthers coming up. We'll have a show coming up, viewers, on Sunday night to preview the Carolina Panthers game. So that's all from us on a winning formula. I was going to say Wednesday, but it's a Friday. Thursday for you in the States who've just finished watching a bludger of a game, as Jono said at the start. Thanks, Jono. Look forward to seeing you very soon. And thanks, Ed, mate. We'll see you soon, mate. Hopefully see you on Sunday.
Go Niners.
Go Niners.